All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this year's NCBA Annual League Meeting. I'm Sandy Sanderson, President and founder of the NCBA, and I'm excited to be here to kick off this annual event. I remember the first league meeting we hosted at a hotel in McLean, Virginia, with 24 club baseball officers who had an idea that this league could be something that could really be special, and here we are so many years later, just absolutely rocking and rolling. I like to use the term "we are back." We are back in so many ways. This is the 22nd annual league meeting. We're back to this point. We're back to 3 divisions of club baseball. That's what we had prior to the pandemic. This is our first year where we were able to bring Division III back, so we crowned 3 national champions this year. We are back. Spring training, 2 of them, East Coast and West Coast, both of them record attendance. We are back. 4 fall tournaments kicking off with, at capacity, with putting teams on waiting lists. We are back. We are back on that growth trajectory that we were prior to the pandemic, and I'm so excited about where things are heading with the NCBA as we grow and move forward. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the VP of Baseball Operations, Eric Curator, and he'll be your guide through this journey this evening. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Thank you, Sandy. That was a great introduction, great little opening to the meeting tonight. Yeah, we're excited to be here. This is the night we officially turn the page to the 2023-2024 season. Last year, which we'll talk about in a little bit, was a great year, but we're just as excited, if not more, for the upcoming year, and let's get into it. All right, first and foremost, these meeting slides, you can download them off our websites, clubbaseball.org for D1, the D2 and D3 websites as well. It's through a headline post there, or you can just follow along here. These are the same exact slides you'll see online. So, one of the nice things we like about this meeting, we're going to say it multiple times throughout the night, it's interactive, so you guys can ask a question in that comment box. One thing we do recommend is just say your name, who you're with, your team, your school. And just be descriptive of what your question's all about, and as soon as we get a second, we'll answer it on the spot. All right, NCBA, that's obvious. There's our address, our phone number, information, our website. You guys should know that by now. The agenda for tonight's meeting. First and foremost, you're going to meet the NCBA staff. You met Sandy, the president. Now you met myself. We'll have some other guys speak throughout the night. We're going to do a year in review of the 2022/23 season. What's to come for next year. Break out in some smaller, more specific sessions about marketing, fall tournaments and other tournaments along the way, and then we'll close it up. All right, let's meet the staff. Front office, you just met Sandy, the president of the league, myself, the VP of Baseball Operations and Marketing, Director of D2 Baseball Operations, Jimmy Henderson. You'll meet him in a little bit here. Mike Galletti, Director of D3 Baseball Operations, and our Rawlings Account Manager. You'll meet him. Our Treasurer is Sandy Sanderson Sr., Accounting Specialist Mike Battaglia. The game sponsor account is Felicia. You guys have probably all worked with her in the past, if not this coming year. She's your contact for everything the game hats, which you guys are all required to wear. Division I Rules Committee Rep is Joe Karachi. Division II is Chad Lowe, and our Director of Umpires is Ryan Hastings. On the D1 side of things, North Atlantic Regional Director Antonio Sacca. He's the guy behind the scenes. Shout out to our producer right now. He's running this show. Mid-Atlantic, Mike Galletti. South Atlantic, Stephen Baker. Great Lakes is myself, but you notice we are looking for a volunteer. One thing we always strive for is, getting help when and where needed. This is a great foot in the door with the NCBA. It's great for your resume. It's actually how I started here many, many years ago. As I was a volunteer. So we are looking for somebody to help out run a region, whether it's a alumni, former player, an NCBA enthusiast. Email me if you're interested. We can get that going for you. Gulf Coast, Ryan Norris, the absolute man, runs Wood Wars for us. If you guys haven't seen that fall tournament, we'll talk about it later. Mid-America is Drew Roy, a former Pitt State player. Excited to have him on board. I believe last year was his first year. It was awesome to have him on. Northern Pacific is Dave Stahl, one of the best. He's been around for years. He actually does the Division II region as well. Couldn't do it without him. And last, SoPac, Southern Pacific, is Nick Trulio, former Nevada club baseball player, national champ, I believe. Pitcher on that staff back in 14, 13, 15 maybe. Dating me there, but yeah, great addition to our regional director staff, and we're really thankful for these guys. On the D2 side of things, real quick, Chesapeake, Mike Smith, former Arizona State player, New England, Antonio Sacca, Dixie, Nate Brown, former UNC Charlotte player. Great to have him on board for first time last year. New Penn, Gary Robinson, and I guess Northern Plains, Jeff Bover. These two guys have been around just as long as I've been around. Shout out to those guys, real instrumental in our Division II staff. So those guys oversee our New Penn and Northern Plains. Great Americans, Jimmy Henderson, our D2 director, but same note there, looking for a volunteer, so let us know if you're interested in that. Rocky Mountain, Dave Stoll, who I mentioned before on the D1 side of things, and then the Pacific is Mikey Battaglia in our office. On the Division III side of things, District 1, Darren Klein. District 2, Mike Galletti, our Division III director. He's also looking for a volunteer. District 3, Nate the Great, Nate Shover, great guy. Extremely excited to have him on board. Northern Illinois alumni, played in the league. Super excited about having him around. And then District 4 is Mike Galletti. He's also looking for a volunteer there as well. Again, there's where you guys can download the meeting slides. You can kind of keep up. Look ahead, look back. You know, it's nice to have those at your fingertips as we go through this. All right, so a year in review. We'll talk about the growth. We'll talk about some rule changes, some membership, and some postseason stuff. So this is just a nice, easy chart for you guys to look at. It breaks down our membership through the years. You can see our very first year back in 2000, we opened up the NCBA with 34 teams. It's gradually grown over time, which we're really excited about. We hit that 306 number in 2016. Hovered around early 300s there. Pandemic hit, took a little bit of setback, but you notice we're climbing right back up. 275 in 2022, 286 last year, and we're expecting to top that number again this year. So great growth. We're excited to see where this goes. And as Sandy mentioned earlier, we brought back Division III, which is huge. It's great for the league, and we're excited to see where that goes. State representation, 45 states, which is awesome. Obviously, we're only missing 5, and that's a great showing for all the colleges we have around the country. And we'd like to get those last 5, and we'll see how that goes. 2023 district playoffs at the Division III level. We had 4 district playoffs in 2023. We had 1 at a neutral site just because that was a 4-team, so we did all the planning for those guys. The other 3 were hosted by the #1 seed. On our end, for that one that was at the neutral site, we covered all the field costs, the game balls, and the umpires. And within that, we did our best to get you guys discounted hotels, trophies, an opportunity to play postseason baseball, which is the biggest thing. And with that, the opportunity to compete for a district championship and ultimately a national championship, which we'll talk about later, that we crowned Milwaukee School of Engineering for. Well, there you go. 2023 D3 World Series, Milwaukee School of Engineering. Shout out to those guys. We were in Butler, PA, Pullman Park. It was our first year there. Some of the factors that went into picking that facility were field availability, venue quality, lights, rental costs, local attendance, and eagerness of the local organizers. We'll say this a couple times throughout the night. One of the big things we really need when looking for facilities and cities to work with is, we want to be wanted. If we go to a big city, we'll just be a blip on their radar. We're not really going to get the care that we really need and want to really make the event to not only meet our standards, but the team standards too. You guys are spending a lot of money. A lot of logistics go into these events, and we want to make it the best we can. So that's something big for us. But for 2023 D3 World Series, shout out to those guys at MSOE. They had a hell of a run. I was excited to see them in person, and they're a great team. So moving on to D2, we had 8 regionals in 2022. All 8 had a neutral site. You notice we're always open to recommendations. We only know so many fields around the country. We're getting better and better. We've been doing this for a while. We have relationships, but we don't know every single field. So a lot of you guys have great high school facilities. Maybe you travel ball, you played at some really nice turf facilities along the way. By all means, send us to us, whether it's a fall tournament, regional tournament, World Series. We love learning about new facilities, and we're always open to recommendations. So with these D2 regionals, we covered everything from the field costs, the game balls, the umpires, and with that, we got the discounted hotels, we got you guys trophies, and obviously the opportunity to play postseason baseball for your regional championships and national championships along the way. 2023 D2 World Series, we were in Alton, Illinois at Lloyd Hopkins Field. It was the first year there. It went great. It was an awesome event. Shout out to Jimmy Henderson, our director. First time running on his own. Did a fantastic job. The Ohio State University took home the World Series title there. Fantastic run. Drew Lane, I believe his name was, the MVP. Phenomenal performance. They were just a great team to watch from start to finish. So kudos to those guys, and we're excited to see them back, to see what they can do this year. Same idea with the factors: field availability, venue quality, lights, rental cost, local attendance, and the eagerness of local organizers. Big things, especially with our D2 and D1 events, they're a little bit longer. D2's 5 days, D1's 7 days. It is hard to get a field exclusively for that amount of time. We look at tons of fields that, they're great on paper. They're awesome facilities. City's great. It checks all the boxes, but we might not have exclusive use for those 5 days or 7 days. That's huge. We have to have that. And it really takes the amount of fields that we look at and kind of shrinks them down just because we have to have that exclusivity. So that's something to keep in mind too when we're looking around. So something we do at the Division II and Division I level is we do a travel fund assistance, and basically this is divided up against the 8 participating teams, and it's prorated by distance to the location. So, all 8 teams last year, they went to Alton, Illinois. We took that total amount of mileage that every team went, and we prorated that by how many miles, who was closer. If you're closer, you obviously get less. If you're traveling farther, you get more. But between those 8 teams, they've split up $4,500, which we're excited about. We're giving back money to you guys. We understand that traveling is expensive, and a lot of these times at the end of the year, you're running low on funds. You went through your conference season, you went through the playoffs already. We are happy to provide as much as we can given the circumstances. Plus, it's a national championship, and we want to ease that burden as much as we can. So moving to D1, last year, a lot of the same kind of stuff. We had all 8 regional tournaments, neutral sites, 4-team double elimination. We partnered with discounted hotels, trophies. We set up everything on a tee for you guys with the games, no field or umpire costs to you guys. We handled everything across the board. And again, I made a note, send your regional director host site recommendations. Like I said earlier, we'd love to learn about new fields. We don't know everything out there, so please send us anything and everything. Our Division I World Series, we were in Alton, Illinois again, same as D2. It's our first year there. It was a magnificent event. Shout out to Penn State. They had an awesome tournament. I believe it's their 3rd World Series as their program history, which is a phenomenal feat. Kudos to those guys. A lot of those factors are the same that I've been mentioning before. The field availability, the venue quality, the lights. A lot of those things are necessities into running an event, especially at the Division I level, mind you, because it's 8 days. So we had a great time in Alton, Illinois. I know all 8 teams had a great time. Us staff, we conversed a lot with the teams. We saw them out. We're right next to St. Louis. Great for travel, great facility, all turf field. Only positives to say about Alton, Illinois, and the facility we had out there. Excuse me. So, yeah, congrats to Penn State. Let's see if you can repeat. Same idea with the travel assistance. This is just kind of a breakdown of the Division I level. As you can see, throughout the years, this is increased. One big question I always get was, hey, 07 to 08. Cut in half. Why is that? Well, we started Division II that year, so we had less money to go around, just because we wanted to help facilitate the Division II teams as well. Same idea with 19, it went down. Obviously, the pandemic hit, but as you can see, we're gradually working that back, and we'll get back to pre-pandemic hopefully next year. Again, how to ask a question? That comment box right there. Type your name, team affiliation, and questions in there. It looks like we have a question. All right, first one.
Yeah, Eric, Will Carrier, consultant with the CU Club team. He's wondering when will it be announced where the D1 World Series will be held for 2024?
Sure, that's a great question. I would say sometime within the next month. It's in our best interest to figure this out sooner rather than later, just because of the logistics that go into it. We got to start looking at hotels, setting up sponsorships, the plans on our end. Plus, we want to give that information to you guys as soon as possible so you can go about your plans. You guys can budget, hey, if I make the World Series, I'm going to need a flight or I'm going to need rental cars. So I would say within the next month, hopefully sooner. The sooner the better. So, good question. All right, let's turn the page to next year. We'll talk new teams, realignment. We'll talk some rules changes, and then we'll break out into those sessions like I mentioned earlier with team operations, tournaments and championships, and then we'll close up on some sponsors and fundraisers. All right, new teams. 7 new teams officially as of today. We're excited about Howard University, University of Utah, Southern Utah University, Lone Star College, Milwaukee School of Engineering. As I mentioned them earlier, they won our Division III World Series, and it just the momentum picked up for them. And I guess they're going to have a lot more guys out next year. The school's really getting behind them after winning, and they're going to enter a second team in Division II. So good for those guys. Santa Clara University out in California, and then lastly SIU Edwardsville. Mind you, I expect this list to double. By the end of the year, we're going to get more and more teams and really start continuing our growth as we were pre-pandemic. To go with that, 10 new teams have expressed interest for next year. We got SUNY Oneonta, we got Butler, Roanoke, Dallas Baptist, Texas San Antonio, Denver, UNLV, Santa Cruz, and Menlo College. I'm sure Jimmy Henderson, our director of team development, he's got more than just 10 that he could have put on this list. We're actively in talks with a lot of schools. One thing that we always see is, once kids get back on campus, they really start getting the ball moving them. Hey, this is what I need to get done. It's not summer anymore. I'm on campus. I need to get my paperwork done. I need to meet with my faculty, meet with my advisors, whoever it may be. So this list should be a lot longer. It will be a lot longer, and hopefully we start adding more teams as we go. Realignment. A lot of you guys have actually started to receive emails from us in terms of official realignment. Division I is usually the first one to get in place, just because there's less moves there. It's very turnkey. There's a lot less teams coming and going. All these teams, majority of teams in Division I, they've been around a long time. Like I said, they're turnkey. They're not leaving. They're not going. So a lot of you guys have seen emails. Long story short on that front. Division II, Division III. We're still working through that. There's a little bit more movement on that end. You get new teams. You get teams that move up maybe to D1. You get teams that move down maybe to D3. There's just a little more inconsistency, if that makes sense. It's not as turnkey. So, we're working through that as we speak. We should hopefully have some finalizations on that front by the end of the week, if not early next week. But the big thing to take away from this slide is if you don't have your paper in right now, you're at risk for being left out. Because like I said, we are doing realignments as we speak. And we can't account for you without paperwork, so you got to get that in. That's the big takeaway here. Our NCBA Rules Committee. So as mentioned earlier, Joe Karachi is our D1 elected teams rep. D2 is Chad Lowe, been around many years. Joe Karachi at that as well. Our D1 Rules Committee representative, is up for election this fall. That should be D1, not D2. My apologies. If you're interested in running for that, please let me know. As we'll talk about a little bit later here, we have an annual rules meeting. The entire panel gets together and we go over all the proposals throughout the year from the teams, the staff, and kind of discuss what needs to be changed, what shouldn't be changed, kind of just go over everything one by one and kind of vote on everything. So if that's something that has any interest to you, let us know. We'd like to get you on the ballot and see if you can be considered for the position. Like I was saying earlier, committee is made up of 7 members. That's the president, the VP of the NCBA, all the league directors, the at-large regional director from D1, and then both elected team representatives. And we meet every summer. We talk about all the rules proposals, and then from there we get our updated rule book for the next upcoming season. So this past year we met on July 26th. Teams communicated their proposed rule changes through us through a rule suggestion form. It was real easy. Your name, your school, what you're interested in seeing changed, and why. And basically we took all of those notes, all of those proposals, sat around a table and debated it out for hours on end. And some stuff did get passed, which we'll talk about in a second here. Other things, it was a great debate. It didn't get passed, but some things take a couple of years to get over the hump, I guess is a good way of putting it. So all great dialogue, all great debates. And like I mentioned here, all rule suggestions were discussed. However, not all rule suggestions received enough support to warrant a vote. But things change over time, things evolve. So these meetings are very vital to our rule book year in and year out. Now here are just some of the meetings results. I'm not going to go through every single one of these on this list. Mind you, we didn't list every single thing that was talked about at the rules meeting. As you notice, it says full results found on NCBA website. But some of the big ones, schools who forfeit during the last week of the regular season are not subject to automatic probation. We understand a lot of schools have, whether it's graduation, finals, we always get the question, hey, can we move the season up a weekend? Can we move it back a weekend? Something that schools don't really realize is we got about 300 of you. You're all over the place. Just because you might not have finals on this weekend doesn't mean somebody else is on the finals on the next weekend. No matter what weekend we pick, it's going to inconvenience somebody. And we're open to working with you, but there's not a whole lot that can be done on that front. So that's why that didn't pass. A big thing, I guess, is another one on extra innings. Each half inning during extra innings will automatically begin with a runner on second base. That was proposed. We kept our rules the same as last year. We are going to treat every extra inning just like every inning prior to that. Nobody's on base, no auto runners, none of that. Baseball will be played as baseball should be played. Another one, Division I proposal, allow courtesy runners to pitch. That should say pinch run for catches with 2 outs. That did not pass. We do have that at the lower levels, but we do not have Division I. That was something else that came up. Another one, any and all Division I regular season games should be 7 innings, as opposed to doubleheaders being 7s and individual games being 9s. That did not pass. Another interesting one we actually had a pretty cool debate on was, create a conference tournament prior to the postseason. And that really just kind of comes back to the timing of the year. You guys have finals, exams, all this stuff that goes on that time of year. Plus, we're in a crunch to get to our postseason. Everything is laid out in a specific way so we can finish our season, have our first round of the playoffs, and our World Series. We have a lot of times that we see conferences, they're struggling to get their conference games in to begin with. So we felt that, if we want to take away a weekend to then have a conference tournament or whatever it may be before, that's counterproductive because you guys are already struggling to find time to find your conference games as it is. In Division I, which we've never had issues in California this year, it was crazy. We didn't have enough time to finish conference games because it rained for nearly 2 months in California. So you never know what's going to happen. Flexibility is kind of king, and we need as much as we can. So yeah, full results can be found on the NCBA website. A lot more than these. Definitely go through them. Big thing of note here is, we're going to be working on updating the rule books shortly to where anything that was voted to change will be implemented within those rule books. All right, breakout sessions. I'm going to give my voice a break here, and Jimmy Henderson's going to get up here and talk about some team operations.
Thanks, Eric. As you guys can see on the screen here, session 1 will be about team operations and how to conduct yourselves throughout the season. By me, session 2 will be tournaments and championships, back to Eric Curator, and session 3 will be sponsors and fundraisers with Eric as well, and our Rawlings account manager Mike Galletti. Just a gentle reminder, if you're just joining us, how to ask a question. Type your name in the comment box, and also include the team affiliation that you are with, and we will temporarily stop the meeting and answer your question. Okay, guys, first up, how you get in the league, the league participation agreement and the registration form. The league participation agreement, LPA for short, is what ties us together for the year. We need that signed by a team president or and a club sports director or faculty advisor. You get that back to us via fax or scan or email, and that is your ticket to being a participating member of the league. Once receipt of that on our end is acknowledged, then you guys are set. But we also need a registration form. The registration form is a Word document that gives us full contact information for your club with the most up-to-date information. We have emails going out all the time to the whole league, whether it's in the summer, whether we're in season, whether we're getting towards the end of the season, whenever. There's a lot of details and a lot of communication that needs to happen. We need to make sure that those emails are getting to the right people within your club. Next, schedule request form. Those coincidentally have been sent out recently within the last week or so. And this is you guys' chance to tell us your availability, to let us know what you would somewhat like your conference schedule to look like. You can notate home, away, off, with reasons for those things, whether it's because you already have your varsity field reserved, you can't have that reserved, whatever it is, you let us know, help us help you to make those schedules. We take your whole conference, try to meet everybody's accommodations as best as possible, so we can get the games in the first time and no need for a reschedule. The more flexibility, the better on those. It's important to include things such as spring break, finals, field availability, homecoming, whatever it is, whatever reason you have for your request, notate it on there and we'll try to abide by those. Next up is our general liability insurance policy. I don't want to go through each detail here, but you can see $3,000 in general aggregate, $2,000 per occurrence. And the big thing here is just it covers all of our member teams. It covers your travel, your practices, your workouts, games, World Series, whatever it is. This gives you guys peace of mind to help yourself and us from potential loss from any lawsuits or anything that can go wrong. And as you can see at the bottom there noted, this is not a health or accident insurance policy. It is a general liability insurance policy that every member team is included in when they join the league. So once you get your schedules, what's next? Reserving fields and scheduling umpires. Big letters there, don't procrastinate. You want to get those done as soon as you get your schedule. Get a head start on finding your fields. Get a head start on scheduling your umpires. You should be contacting opponents to set up the logistics and the details of your schedule. As soon as you know something, the field address, what time you're playing, all of those type of details need to be communicated to your opponent. And if you're the opponent, if you're the visitor, reach out to the home team. Get those details out of them. And it looks like we have a question.
Yeah, Jimmy, we've got Justin from University of Montana. He's wondering, when will their conference game schedules be released?
Good question, Justin. We, in the Division II front that you guys just joined, we set our deadline for yesterday. So once we finish up realignment, and that'll happen very soon, we'll start working on those schedules. I don't have a set date to give you on when those will be released, but my best educated guess should be here within the end of this month. Within the next week or so, we'll have those out to you. Okay, back to reserving fields and the umpires. Guys, like kind of what I was getting into, sooner the better. As soon as you get your schedule, you need to start working on these. Don't procrastinate. Contact your local high school AD to get local umpire assigner info. Go to your state's high school athletic association website. Most of them that I have found have your assigners on there that are detailed by what region you're in or what city, what county, whatever it is. The big hurdle is just you got to make an effort to find these guys. And if you struggle to, let us know and we'll help you. We'll help point you in the right direction to try to get you an assigner that will make your life easier getting your games covered. Next, so this is team manager access and online player registration. This is how you get your players registered, and it's kind of step one to getting your official NCBA roster for the season. The first thing here is somebody on the team needs to request team manager access. What that does is give them access to the back end of our website. They can see the players that have registered. They can see the official roster. They can input stats that way that we'll get into a little bit later. This is just somebody that will get that team code that will be passed on to the rest of the team, all of the rest of the players that will need the code when registering. So this is kind of the liaison between the front office and the back end of the website. The team manager will be able to see what players have registered, who needs to get their butt in gear and get registered, who did not get pushed onto the roster, and the team manager needs to know why. It's just an easy way for you guys to see what we're seeing, because we don't constantly look at the back end and find out who's not registered. You guys need to help us out with that, and this is the good way to do that. The second portion of this is the player registrations. I mentioned that team code that will the team manager will have access to. It is just a kind of a 6-digit hybrid between your school's mascot or a color and some numbers. Long story short, that team code, each player needs it. When that individual player goes to register, there will be a place to input that team code along with all of their personal information, such as their age, their year in school, how many years they've been in college, all things of that nature that will help determine eligibility for that individual player. Once they successfully go through that process, they will sit in a registration queue, and we'll get into it in a couple slides. But once an academic eligibility letter comes back to us, as long as everything checks out for each player, they will get pushed from that registration queue to the active roster. Next, we're going to go over coaches' participation waivers. Everybody, any dugout personnel that is not a registered player on the NCBA website needs to have a coach's participation waiver on file with us. This is just so, we don't want extra guys in the dugout. We don't want your family or friends in the dugout. We only want the players and all official active coaches that have a waiver on file. Not only is it a liability for us, we don't want the extra hoopla, right? Everything needs to be taken serious. No extra bodies in the dugout clogging things up. For the teams that do have coaches, personnel that are not active registered players, just email your league director to get this coach's waiver. You can also find it online under the info tab. It's just a downloadable Word document. You fill it out, sign it, and then email it back to us. Once we acknowledge the receipt of that, then that coach is good and they are eligible to be in that dugout. And we're going to stop for a second because we have a question.
Yeah, Jimmy, Rico from Lone Star College, Kingwood, had a question about white bats, Cat 8 and 9, Marucci white bats. Are they legal to use? I just want everybody on the show to notice. I put in the comment box a link to the NCAA approved bat list so that everybody can look in there. If they have that same bat question, they can look up their bat to see if it's legal or not. That link is also included in our NCBA rulebook.
Yes, good response, Sandy. As he went into, we have a full list, a link that will tell you every bat that's eligible or ineligible to use. So please utilize that. If you need help finding it, or we can even email it to you, just reach out to your league director and we'll make sure to get that into your hands. Okay, moving on. Oh, no, we're not. We got another question.
Noah Chin from George Washington asks, how exactly do you request access as a team manager?
We'll have official instructions coming out soon. He can shoot me or whoever an email letting us know that they need the access and we'll get it to them. But we will have detailed instructions that go over that coming out sooner rather than later. Okay, so the academic eligibility letter that we touched on. This is a Word document that we'll be sending out. You can also download it on our website. We have 2 sample formats available under the info tab. Each player will need to be listed on this form. From there, it needs to go to your school, and that's your registrar or your faculty advisor or your club sports director, somebody that has access to each player's academic records. Once those get checked, that person, the registrar, faculty advisor, club sports director, what have you, will either check mark or they'll notate in some way on that form that either player is good, or they'll cross off who does not meet our academic standard or eligibility requirements to play. And whoever is marked off as cleared on that form, that is when we will move those players from the registration queue onto the active roster. Now you can see there in bold, the only way we can accept these forms is if it comes to us directly from a school representative, such as a club sports director or faculty advisor, or a student can send it to us if and only if the letter features an official university registrar stamp or seal. And that's just something official from the school that tells us we know that somebody that had access to the academic records has indeed checked over this form. We have some of our requirements listed down there. You must be currently enrolled as a full-time student. You must have a 2.0 GPA. You cannot be on academic warning. You cannot be on academic probation. Very similar to NCAA eligibility requirements. You have to meet those standards to be eligible. There's no exceptions. There's no and, ifs, and buts. And the last point there, once received by us, everybody that's on the academic letter that has registered will be pushed onto the official NCBA roster. And something I want to touch on, because this happens somewhat frequently, you send in your initial academic eligibility form, and then you get 2 players come on board later for another form. That's more than fine. You can send in that academic eligibility form as many times as you need to up until our hard roster freeze on April 15th. And on the other end of that, when kids do not register the initial time and we activate your roster and then a kid registers later, we need notified that player has registered. There's no automatic notification on our end that somebody is registered. So again, like I said, that's more than fine. We just do need notified for those that do register late to push them onto the roster. The next piece, uploading player stats and team information. On our website, each team has their own website within our website. And then within that own individual website, each player has their own player bio. And we want these, they're there for a reason. We want these to look nice. We want you guys to help us with that. Put in your player information, your height, your weight, where you played in high school, where you played Legion ball, whatever it is. Upload a photo of yourself. This is kind of you guys' chance to show off a little bit. This is, parents will love this. Your club sports office will like this. It's just a chance to show off what you guys have and, just tell a little bit about yourselves. On the under end of that, we want your team stats on the website. It is required that each team uploads their team stats to our website. Not only for that, we need those to pick player of the weeks. We need those to pick pitcher of the weeks. We need those to pick All-Americans. It's a simple process. The team manager or your official statistician, whoever needs access to the back end, we can give it to them. And from there, it's just clicking on each individual game and inputting the stats. It doesn't take that much time. We want you guys to do it. It's in our rule book to do it. So make sure you find somebody that will be willing to take that on for you guys, because we want to be able to show off what you guys have done on both a weekly basis at the conference level and at the national level, and then at the end of the year at the All-American level. We have a question.
Yeah, Jimmy. Zach White asks, if you take some classes at a community college and some at the NCBA member team university, are you still able to be eligible to compete?
No. Each student will have to be a full-time student at the said team affiliation, the school that they are trying to play for. Okay, just another reminder there. If you are just joining us, how to ask a question, just type your name, your team affiliation in the comments section below. We will answer your question as it is received. Okay, weekly team submission form. This is another Word document that it shows us that, 1, the games were played, 2, that's how we gather the scores from your games to put them into the website. And 3, this is how we pick player and pitchers of the week. There is a space on this weekly team submission form for you to nominate up to 2 players and 2 pitchers along with their full stat line. So we need those back. They're due on Mondays at midnight after a weekend or week the games were played. So make sure to get those in. It shouldn't take too long to do. And going off of that, back to inputting stats onto the website, to be eligible for those awards, you have to input the stats onto the website. And before you even get that far, we need this weekly team submission form for you guys to nominate somebody to put on our radar. From there, we take them and put them up against all the nominations we got from the conference. Next, we'll go over the dues. As you can see there, the very first item is just a lot of the tangible items that teams get for being in the NCBA. As part of these league dues, each team gets 1 Bibicor certified bat. Last year it was an Easton ALSX. You'll get 6 dozen official NCBA game balls at the D1 level, 5 dozen at D2, and then as we touched on earlier, you're included in the $2 million general liability insurance policy. At the D1 and D2 levels, you'll also get your choice of a full set of catcher's gear or 8 batting helmets. This is a great way to meet what's in our rule book. It's got to be uniform. The catcher's gear has got to match. Your batting helmets are got to match. So one year you can pick the catcher's gear, next maybe you pick the batting helmets. Either way, we're proud to offer that for our teams. We're proud to give that to you as part of being a part of our league. At the D1 and D2 levels, each team will submit a $300 performance bond. Now, a lot of times this is rolled over from year to year. So the only way you do pay it is if it needs replenished from the year before. You can ask for this to get refunded to you at the end of the year, but unless you specifically ask from us, then it's just going to roll over and cover next year's performance bond. Next item has the 3 different leagues and their respectful dues. 2160 at the D1 level, 1905 at D2, and 1650 in Division 3. These are due in full by February 28th, but I recommend paying early if possible. If you pay in full by December 31st, you will receive a $100 discount. why that may not sound like much. $100 helps you with your hats, helps you with your uniforms, gets you more baseballs if you want to play a bunch of home games. So if it's feasible for you guys, pay that early by December 31st. As mentioned there, we can accept credit cards or check. Credit cards are more than fine, but they could be subject to the online handling fee. Invoices and receipts are also available, but you have to ask for them from us, but we can get them to you. And then if you need it, your school needs it, whoever needs it, you can see our EIN and tax ID number down there. And you can ask any of your league directors for that at any time when you need it. The next slide here just has some tips on, we have a question. Tips on the question.
Yeah, I've got a question out here. Do D2 and D3 NCBA schools have a lighter schedule than D1 teams? Less games played during the season, etc.?
Thank you for the question, and that is a good question. It's a little difficult to answer. Our goal is, in a perfect world, we want 6 teams in each conference to play 3-game series versus each opponent for a total of 15, right? But it doesn't always work out that way. There's a lot of logistics that go in on our end on determining what conferences are. But to answer your question, you'll be scheduled anywhere from 12 to 18 conference games, and that's really regardless of division. No, we don't schedule any more at the Division I level or less than we do in Division III.
Jimmy, I want to point out that, at the Division II level compared to Division I, all Division II games are 7-inning games. Division I plays some of their games as 9-inning games, so there is a little bit of reduction in the lighter schedule there. Additionally, at the D1 level, teams are required to play 3 non-conference games to make it to the postseason, to be postseason eligible. At the D2 level, they're only required to play 1 non-conference game. And at the D3 level, all games are 7 innings. There is no requirement in the number of non-conference games played, as well as, we passed this new rule this year in Division III where conferences can be set up as 2-game series instead of 3 to provide Division III teams a little bit lighter schedule if that's what suits them.
Yeah, all good points and all accurate. So yes, the question is kind of, there's layers to it. But yes, all good points, and I think that's what I got. Anyway, back to just some tips here for boosting team interest and team morale. Everything here is hopefully already being done. Student involvement fair for the incoming freshmen. A lot of schools, almost all of them, I would say, have some type of activity fair or something of that nature that you can set up a booth at. It covers your club sports, your student orgs, your student activities, everything that's going on that campus. The schools want you to know about these things. So get out, get a booth there. The big thing on boosting team interest is just making people know about it. I know personally speaking, I didn't know about club baseball until I was a sophomore in college, so I didn't even know about it my first year. An easy way to get more people involved in your team, interested in your team, knowing about your team is just talking about it. Talk about it in class. Talk about it when you're out and about with nightlife. Talk about it when you're on your way to class. Any chance you have, get the word out there. You can advertise in the school paper, flyers in freshman dorms and other common areas. Coverage in school paper again. Create a Facebook group and other social media groups and make your presence known on campus. Again, kind of everything's tied back to make an effort to make people know about it, and you'll see how successful that can be. Boosting team morale. Get the team together off the field as much as on. Honestly, I think that's a big one. That's how you build relationships with your teammates. That's how you meet new people and make new friends. And the more time you guys spend together, the more chemistry you'll have on the field. Second thing, just building off of that, social events and group activities where all are included can build strong bonds. Same thing, go to a baseball game together, go to a basketball game together at school. Whatever you guys can do to just be with each other will absolutely build that strong team chemistry. Next up, spring training trips build along team chemistry. Come play in our spring training event. We have a beautiful facility in Panama City Beach, Florida, with beautiful hotels, and you're at the beach. It's a great team bonding experience. Set room assignments on the road trip to break up cliques. It happens everywhere. whether your club sports team, your high school sports teams, at your work, there's always cliques and people that always run around together. Break those up. Force somebody. If they're not going out of their way to get to know some of your teammates, force them. Make them do it. Looking good can make players buy into club philosophy faster. Look good, feel good, play good. The more you look like a team, the more likely you are to play better, for people to buy into what you're selling. Get some team gear, whether that's just pullovers, shorts, sweatpants. They look great, and it will bond you guys together on the field. And being organized will give opponents the impression of strong leadership while instilling pride in your team. Same thing, it goes off of that. Be organized. That's always step one to finding success. Arrive at the same time in uniform, in your team vans. Have a good warm-up. Have a plan when you go out there for infield, outfield before a game. Have a plan when you show up to practice. Don't just throw it together. Not only is it obviously it's going to make your team better, it's going to give off the impression to your opponent that we better be ready for these guys because they're ready for us. More team operation stuff. Budgeting, very important to set an accurate budget. The big thing here that I want to harp on is it's better to overestimate than under. Having too much money is a good problem to have. You need to budget for your postseason tournament every single year, like you're making it to the last day of that World Series, and you need every single night of those hotel rooms, that you need every single day of feeding your team. Absolute worst case scenario, if you don't make it that far, now you just have a head start on next year. So you need to make sure you're budgeting for regionals, for the World Series, for spring training, everything of that nature. Income items, examples are player dues, fundraisers, donations, what the school can give you. When setting your player dues, take all of these things into account, such as the spring training trip in PCB or Henderson, Nevada. Your travel cost, you got to get to your opponents, whether that's rental vans or just reimbursing players for fuel, new uniforms, new hats, a second pair of uniforms and hats. More included equals higher dues, so kind of the more players that you can keep, the better. Supply and demand, lots of interest equals higher dues. Make them pay as soon as they make the team. Like we have mentioned there, players who practice for months and then fail to hand over a check hurt the team financially and team chemistry. And absolutely, I don't think that could be any more true. That would just kind of throw a wrench into what you guys are doing. I paid, why hasn't he? He's getting to play, but he hasn't paid. Make these guys pay as soon as they make the team. Charge $5 for tryouts. Team equipment and uniforms. Right there in red, be sure to order early, as customized items tend to have extended lead times. And be sure to order early no matter what. The season comes sooner than you know it. Hiccups can happen along the way when finalizing your order, so just get it in motion as soon as you can. Order extra caps, pants, and jerseys. Everyone's dad and brother will buy one for a fundraiser. You can buy extra hats and have a fundraiser on campus. People will buy. I know, personally speaking, when I was at West Virginia, I had plenty of friends buy some just because they liked the design of the hat. So you'd be surprised of how successful that can be. Order extra game balls when the supply runs low. In our rule book, it states you have to use our official NCBA baseball. That's any game. The home team's providing those. You want to get in a bunch of games. We encourage you to schedule as many non-conference games as possible. You need baseballs to have those. So order as many as you can. Again, kind of going off the budgeting earlier, it's better to have too many than too little. Absolute worst case scenario, now you just have a head start on the following season as far as supplying your baseballs. Get quotes from our sponsors. There's a reason we endorse them and why we've partnered with them. Our sponsors are there to help you, both financially and logistically. And lastly, take advantage of additional NCBA discounts during early ordering periods. We'll have Mike go over kind of Rawlings stuff later, but Rawlings has discount periods. The game or hat sponsor has early discount periods. So one of the best way to utilize those, guys, you need them anyway. You might as well get them while these early discounts are running. Next, we'll go over the Guide to Collegiate Club Baseball. You can find this on our website. It is in a Prezi format, kind of similar to what we're doing now with this league meeting. This guide is a bulk of information, kind of catered to, I don't know if saying new teams is the right way to put it, but it's just catered to showing all of our teams what it takes to be in this league, how to be successful, how to run a season, how to run a team, anything and everything in between. We have it detailed in there with chapter titles if you're looking for something specific. Starting with, what is the NCBA? What is club baseball? What is this league that I'm hearing about? How to start a team. Now that you have a team, how do we join? Now that we're in, how do we operate? Whether that's preseason, in-season, postseason. Making your team better, and that can be both on and off the field. Fundraising and sponsors. And there's others in there that we don't have listed here. Each chapter goes into detail over just what to expect and how we can help. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Like I said, the chapters and the whole presentation in its entirety can be downloaded off the Documents tab on our websites. Okay, and the last thing I have here is just a timetable. This is kind of a timeline of what the season looks like as a whole. Right now we're finishing up realignment. We've got our renewals and new team LPAs, although we are still accepting those, so get those in if you haven't yet. In mid-August, kind of where we're at now, we'll go into making our conference schedules and getting those released as soon as we can. September 8th is the first day that official NCBA sanctioned games can be played this fall. We go through our fall season. November 12th is the last day that officially sanctioned games can be played. December 31st is that annual league dues with the discount. February 1st, we're back at it again. That's the first day that official sanctioned games can be played in the spring. Going into late February, that is when the annual league dues are due in their entirety by February 28th. March is when we have our spring training showcases. We touched on a little bit down in Panama City Beach for the East Coast and Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas on the West Coast. Both are great events. Both are a lot of fun. Guys, get to those if you can. April 15th is that hard roster freeze. After that point, no player can be accepted onto the active roster. There's no exceptions with that. April 28th, the last weekend in April, the D2 and Division III regular season will conclude. May 5th, the following weekend, the D1 regular season will conclude. First weekend in May, May 3rd to the 5th, will be the first round of the playoffs for D2 and D3. Those are regional and district tournaments, often 4-team double elimination or could be a best of 3. May 12th through the 14th is D1 regionals, their first step of the postseason. And then the last 3 items there are the dates for all 3 of our World Series where we will crown our national champion. And now to start session 2, I will pass this back over to Vice President Eric Curator.
All right, session 2, tournaments and championships. Thank you, Jimmy. Let's get into it. NCBA fall tournaments, spring training. We'll talk regional tournaments, World Series events across the board, D3, D2, and D1. All right, real quick, fall tournaments for this fall. The first one is, mind you, these are all ones that our front office is running. So the first one is Greenville Fall Invitational. I'm personally heading that up, so you can see my email there. This has got to be the 10th or 11th year we've done it, which is kind of crazy to say. It's November 3rd through the 5th, 12 teams. We just need one more team. So if you're in that area, D3, D2, D1 team, anybody and everybody's invited. Come on down. It's a great complex, 3 fields, 3 games guaranteed, and elimination play after that. Wood Wars, Monroe, Louisiana, November 3rd through the 5th. It is an absolute fantastic facility, an absolute no-brainer to me if you're within 6 hours. Heck, if you're in 8 hours. It's a fantastic event. Ryan Norris has been putting this on for over a decade. One of the best events you'll attend all year. Not our World Series, obviously, but yeah, Wood Wars is a fantastic event. There's a Swing It Challenge. He really gets the teams involved. Fantastic facility. It's 5 fields. It's turf infields, all in one little complex. built all within the last couple of years. And like I was saying earlier, he puts all the bells and whistles in this event. Highly recommend it. He's still accepting teams. Ryan.norris@coldclubsports.com is his email. If you're within 8 hours of Louisiana, hit him up. It'll be worth your time to learn about it. Battle Creek Blast, we've got to be going on 8 or 9 at this point annually. September 29th through October 1st. It's 12 teams. It is full. They're accepting a waiting list. You never know. Somebody might drop out last minute. So if you're interested, it's in Battle Creek, Michigan. Mike Galetti's email is right there. Give him an email. Charleston Fall Invitationals will be the 3rd year. One of our biggest fall tournaments, really. 3 years ago, we opened it up with 6 teams. This past year, we had 16. Huge jump. This year, we're looking for 16 again. Just opened up, I believe, today or yesterday. We already got a couple of teams already signed up. Got a handful of teams already emailing Jimmy, which is great. The facilities in Charleston, West Virginia, 4 fields, all turf. One of them is actually completely turf, probably built within the last 5 years. Really nice. We've used it for playoff events at the D2 and D1 level as well. So yeah, if you're around the Charleston, West Virginia area looking for some ball, a lot of D1 teams, D2 teams, D3 teams will go. Highly recommend reaching out to Jimmy Henderson. And lastly, we'd like to just put this out there. We are working very hard to find a West Coast and a New England area option for you guys. West Coast especially, we've been trying for years really to bring something out that way for you guys. We always get questions, hey, fall tournament on the West Coast. A hard thing for us is we're East Coast. Not saying we don't want to do anything on the West Coast. We're just limited in what we know out there. Obviously, we have relationships with playoff facilities and other facilities along the way. We need more help, I guess, to find out opportunities for you guys to take advantage of fall tournament. So we are all ears. We've been trying to get something out of the West Coast for a while now, and we continue to do so. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully we can get something going. And this year we're going to try and get something in the New England area, just because we're kind of, not ignoring you guys, but we have other events kind of like West Coast is non-existent at this point. New England is nothing we have out there that way as well. So we want to get something out there too. Looks like we got a question.
Yeah, Eric Drake wants to know, does a tournament count for the minimum 3 non-conference games that you need to be played?
It matters what the event is. Spring training, I can tell you right off the bat, yeah, absolutely. Those are NCBA sanctioned games. More often than not, though, fall tournaments are not. These fall tournaments are designed as great ways to get out in the fall, whether that's used as a tryout. We've seen teams show up with 50 kids, and all 50 of those kids are getting reps, and they're making their cuts after that. We've seen teams approach it as, hey, we're coming here to play, we're coming here to win. They show up with their 25 guys, they put it all on the line, and they compete. But those fall tournaments are usually exhibition 95% of the time. But a really easy way, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, is spring training. Down in PCB or in Henderson on the West Coast, those games are NCBA sanctioned. They're governed by the NCBA rulebook, and they 100% count, and they will go towards that requirement. So those are the easiest ways. Plus, there's so many benefits to going to those events, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But that's a good question. All right to it. Henderson, swinging to spring. So 2023, we had a ton of teams out there, 17. It grew from 12. Which is a step in the right direction. We expect 25 this coming year. It's an event we've only had a couple of years, so we have hopes it'll grow to what we have on the East Coast in PCB, which is 50, 60, 70 NCBA teams. But this past year we had 17. 6 of those teams were in the final top 20 polls between D1 and D2. We had 34 games throughout the week. You guys can see some of the information on costs. These are NCBA sanctioned games. NCBA rules apply. They'll count towards your overall record. They'll count towards your stats. You can see Alex's information on the screen here. He oversees the event out in Henderson. It's right outside of Vegas. Do I need to say more? You guys can go out there for your spring break, have fun, play some ball, and it's a really great opportunity. So I highly recommend hitting up Alec in our office just to learn more about it, if anything. You got to get the wheels turning, start budgeting for it, and get some questions answered. As I was saying, Henderson, 15 miles from Las Vegas. We have it reserved for March 25th through the 31st. It's multiple fields. I believe it's 2, but he's also looking to add another field as we keep growing teams. Teams come play throughout their spring break, or you can come down on just a weekend. So if you're close enough and you just, hey, I'd like to play 3 games on a Saturday, Sunday, done. One of the beautiful things about these spring training events, PCB included, is you tell us what you want. It's a la carte. Hey, I'd like to practice on this day, this day, this day for this many hours. Then I'd like to play on these days this many times. Whatever you want to do, we accommodate. if you want a couple of days of games and a couple of days of you want to go to Vegas, by all means, have fun. We will work around your schedule request and we'll make it happen for you. So going into that, PCB, one of the nicest facilities you'll ever see, right on the beach down there in Panama City Beach. Public sports park, I believe it's 5 or 6 full-size adult baseball fields, all lit, all turf, all weatherproof. You're right on the beach. Last year we had 52 teams participate. There was 124 games over the last 4 weeks. A lot of great sponsors on board for you guys to take advantage of. We work hard, and we're going to continue to work hard to find establishments in the area that you guys can take advantage of. Whether you get discounts at meals, you get discounts for leisure things, just making this up, we're giving you a discount to go jet skis. We'll partner with somebody there. Things like that. We work to make your trip more attractive, to get you out and have more fun. It's spring break. It's not just baseball. So, like I said, discount from local sponsors. We'll give you guys VIP cards. And you can see some pictures there of the facility and some teams playing the last couple of years. You'll see a lot of the costs here. You'll notice we are signed on through 2025, which we're super excited about. Like I was saying, it's a great facility. It's all turf, super updated, really well kept. And ask any team that has gone in the past, and I'm sure they'll say nothing but positive things about their experience. So yeah, a lot of the costs are explained there for you. One of the big things is that deadline on the bottom, October 15th. Registration after that point, you'll get a price increase. So, for those teams that go every year, which there's a lot of you, make note of that so you can take advantage of that price break, which, like I always said, any discount you get here is the easiest fundraiser. You're going to save money. Antonio Sacca here, newly promoted to our director of the event down at PCB. Can answer all your questions. He's got sample budgets. He's got any information you could ever need about, travel, hotels, facility, your scheduling, anything and everything. So anything that you'd want answered, Antonio will be your guy. Some of the details, we do partner with a lot of great hotels that are right next to the facility, which, mind you, is right next to the beach, which is another huge value, I guess, to your event, to your week. The benefits, we negotiate the discounts for you guys. We get room blocks already set aside. It's not like you're starting from scratch, like, hey, where do I look? Where should I go? This guy versus this guy. We put it all on a tee for you. We'll tell you what hotels have what options. Some have different kind of rooming than others. Some are, multi-bed, multi-room. They're all different to cater whatever needs you have. So we'll put it on a tee for you. Lots of different price points too, because some teams, maybe they want to pay more and stay somewhere nicer. Maybe other teams, they want a better price point. All across the board, whatever you're looking for, we can accommodate. All right, so let's talk playoffs for next year. 2024 Division III District Playoffs, they're going to be May 3rd through the 5th. It's always that first weekend in May. Our goal is to hold all these tournaments at a neutral site. We put format to be determined there just because Division III is a little different than Division II and Division I. We might get districts or conferences that have less teams in them just because as we grow, our alignments are different in Division III. So you might get a district with just one conference of 6 teams. At that point, you just got the top 2 that play each other. But District 3, for example, last year, was 2 conferences, so we took both top 2 teams and they played in a 4-team double elimination event from there. So you will know probably next week, maybe the week after at the earliest, or excuse me, the latest, what your format will be, your alignments, all that good stuff. But I just wanted to throw that out there. That's why it says format to be determined. And through these events, we'll give you guys discounted hotels, championship trophies, put everything on a tee for you. Basically, all you guys need to worry about is showing up and playing baseball, as you should, because it's the playoffs and that's the expectation. 2024 World Series, D3 World Series, we're going back to Butler, PA. It's great in the sense that it's very centrally located within the league. Not only that, it's a really nice facility. Ask the 4 teams that went last year. It's turf infield. It's got a lot of history behind it. It's got to be at least 90 years old. Obviously, it's been updated throughout that time, but there's been greats of I believe Lou Gehrig off the top of my head, Mickey Mantle. There's been Yankee farm teams that played there. There's a lot of history behind it. You can tell by just looking at the picture right there. It's got a really cool grandstand. So all 4 district winners will meet there for a double elimination tournament on a 3-day span, which will be May 17th through the 19th. So moving to Division II, you'll be that same weekend, May 3rd through the 5th, that first weekend in May. And same idea with the neutral sites. We're going to do our best to accommodate you guys as best as we can. to get you guys those neutral sites. Many cities across the country are already expressing interest, along with those relationships we've had in the past. So we'll keep those, keep exploring those as we need to. All 8 D2 regionals will be 4-team tournaments. Same idea as before. We're going to do everything to put it on a tee for you. We'll get your room blocks. We'll negotiate your price points. Opportunities to compete in the postseason. We'll handle the umps, the baseballs, the trophies. Show up and play. That's all you got to worry about. It's the postseason. That's what it should be. Division II World Series. We are under contract for Alton, Illinois next year at Lloyd Hopkins Field. If you guys caught the segment earlier about last year's D2 World Series, it was a huge success. One of the best we've had in a while. It was a great facility. As you can see here, it's fully turf. The field is used by a Prospect League summer team, collegiate, so it's extremely well kept. It's a great city. It's right out of St. Louis, so transportation in and out is seamless. You're literally 25 minutes away from St. Louis, which a lot of teams actually took advantage of on off days or when they weren't playing. They'd go hang out in St. Louis. But the city of Alton has a great downtown. It's tiny, but it's got everything you can offer. A lot of bars and restaurants, things to do, nice river walk. It worked out great, and we're really excited to bring it back for next year and hopefully years behind that as well. So yeah, all 8 regional champions will be represented here. Double elimination event. And again, if you guys know of any awesome facilities that we should consider in the future, please email them to Jimmy or really anybody at the NCBA. All right, D1. We are looking at May 10th through the 12th. It's the second weekend. Same idea as the last 2 leagues that we've gone over. Everything will be put on a tee for you. We're going to negotiate everything for you. We'll handle the facilities, the hotels, the umpires, the baseballs. You guys just show up and play. So 2024 World Series, we were in Alton last year. We are not under contract for 2024, but that's not to say we're not looking at Alton. There's a lot of cities that have expressed interest to us. A lot of cities we've used in the past, a lot of cities we've just talked to in the past and never went. A lot of new cities. So, we're evaluating all options as we speak. And, we're excited to really get to it this month because it's in our best interest to finalize that so we can get all the plans going for next year. Understandably, we want to do the same to you guys so you guys know where you're going to go if you make the World Series. So we are doing our work to get it done within the month so we can get all those plans in place. Those dates, March 24th to the 30th, same idea as last year, 8 teams, all 8 regional champions. And again, if you guys have any cool venues that you guys are aware of that you'd like to throw our way, by all means, please do. All right, session 3, sponsors and fundraising. Myself and Mike Galletti will be talking about it. We'll talk current sponsors, some discounts that you guys have available to you guys, some requirements on certain one of these, and ordering, all the logistics within that. But yeah, so you see everybody we're partnered with, Rawlings, Motel 6, Fundraiser, Easton, who's now owned by Rawlings, and The Game. So fundraising opportunities, you can see my contact information there. Fundraiser is a awesome platform that we've had around for nearly a decade. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with a lot of these platforms, but one of the big things that we like them for is the convenience. It's easy to use, it's easy to set up, it's easy to get your money. One of the best campaigns we've seen was last year, well, I guess 2 years ago, better yet. Cal Poly, they raised 17 grand in like a week, which is crazy to think about, but kudos to those guys. A lot of the teams and clubs that we see utilize this platform are raising thousands of dollars, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, whether you need uniforms, whether you need to go to spring training, whether you need help on any other expenses throughout the year. This is a great platform for you guys to use. Like I said earlier, it's easy. It takes a matter of minutes to set up, and I'm happy to walk you through the process if and when the time comes. Last year, teams within our organization raised over 54 grand, which that's a lot of money. We know a lot of you guys are facing hardships within, budgets within the school have been cut. Heck, you probably didn't get a lot to begin with, just knowing club sports in general. You guys face a lot of uphill battles, about, your finances. Things are expensive. We don't want to gouge you with player dues, so you have to cover your expenses throughout the year. Fundraiser is an easy way, along with a million other avenues I hope you guys are exploring, but this is a great way for you guys to help make things easier for yourself. Again, how to ask a question, type your name, which school you're with, write in that comment box. We'll stop the presentation, we'll answer it for you. Equipment sponsors, I'm going to hand it over to Mike Galletti real quick. He's going to talk some Easton and Rawlings.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Now to the best part of this whole thing. I'm sure everyone's anxiously waiting to hear me talk about Rawlings stuff. As you guys can see, we do everything in-house, managing the ordering, billing, invoices, payment. Essentially how it works is if you guys are looking for jerseys or anything out of that catalog, I can send it to you through a link, downloadable, the whole PDF. They've got everything on there. All that stuff is up for, not for grabs, but you can order anything on there for a discount. We'll talk about it later, but 45% discount right now until the November 30th, and then 35% will be then to the end of the year. Even like what I'm wearing right now, I bought these for my staff when we went to Battle Creek. I created this logo for the tournament, and then they were able to embroider it right on top. Looks great, feels great. My staff loves it, and you guys have seen us at tournaments and World Series and stuff like that, so you guys can get this stuff same as myself. So next thing is, we've talked about it before, but Rawlings is the official NCBA baseball along with NCSA. Make sure you guys are using those balls. We provide D1 gets 6 dozen every year, part of your LPA and being a part of the league. D2 gets 5 dozen, and D3 gets 5 dozen. Last year we sold almost a record amount of balls. I know a lot of these teams are either next to the woods or maybe you guys played in the rain, and the turf eats up these balls pretty quickly. If you guys need balls, same as ordering anything else. The practice balls down there, $44.90 a dozen, $63 a dozen for the game balls. Shoot me an email, call, anything. I can get that process going for you. It's pretty simple, straightforward, and baseball ship within 1 to 2 weeks as long as inventory's there, and we shouldn't have any issues for the whole year for that. As I mentioned before, the discount and stuff like that, 45% until November 30th, 35 it starts December 1st until the end of the season. Don't forget, D1 and D2 teams, you are required to have 2 contrasting sets of jerseys home and away, essentially. With that jersey builder, there's also a link for that. You guys can pretty much do almost anything you want to do. You can have custom logos. Shout out to ECU. They had a couple of sponsors and stuff like that. They had custom logos on their sleeves and stuff like that. All that stuff can be put on the jerseys as long as it's in vector format. Last year I learned what a vector was, but most of these people, when they send logos, they know what that is. Essentially just a high-res image, and we can put it on all your jerseys. It comes built into the cost of the jersey. Also, when you buy the jerseys through Rawlings in Easton, it comes with the NCBA logo on the back collar, back pocket for your pants. That stuff's free of charge as long as you order through me. It's on the back. I love it. I still have my jerseys from when I was at Bowling Green. Still there. Really enjoy it. Looks great. So the most popular jersey ordered is the sublimated jerseys. This is because it's fully customizable. I mean, if your brand can think it, they can probably put it on the jersey. Logos in general, same thing. They have multiple different fabric types, all with different costs, but there's no extra cost for special custom jerseys, or if you want 10 different colors, you can have all that. It's all built into the cost. They make it very easy with that jersey builder. The builder online is a little limited, but if you wanted multiple logos, you can have as many as you'd like. Whatever works for the team and whatever works for your sponsors, should you have them for fundraising things. Same with the pants. You can have them match, fully customizable, any design, mostly any logo. As long as it's vector, we can put it on it. And yeah, I mean, I would say the lead time for brand new custom jerseys, if you were to start today, it takes roughly 5 to 6 weeks to ship. So after you guys pay and you guys approve artwork, it's 5 to 6 weeks of shipping. So I mean, you guys please take that into consideration when ordering. This is not Amazon. This is a fully custom top to bottom jersey. Please order early should you have them for the spring or for the fall, whatever you need it for. Please know, like, when the holidays are around here, Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's and all that stuff, Rawlings is off as well. And then there's holidays in China where they make these things. All that stuff goes into it. So if you order a jersey within that time, there's going to be delays with holidays and stuff like that. So please, if you're ordering jerseys, be patient. You'll get them. It just takes some time. I mean, they're fully customizable. It takes some time to make high quality stuff for sure. But just know that going forward, and when you're when you and I are conversing via email or phone. These are just some examples. OU, those are the new jerseys this year. Really a big fan of them. Seminoles, the Florida State, that's a custom logo on the sleeve. All that stuff. This is just one of many things that you can do. All right, I have a question.
Yeah, Mike. Justin asks, are pants extra to order, or are they part of the uniform order?
They are extra. So similar to the jerseys, there's only two fabric types: be Pro Fabric and Collegiate. Pro Fabric's definitely the best fabric. It's the high quality. It'll last for a long time. I always recommend it, but funding's different for different schools. But same thing, fully customizable. And I don't have the pricing off the top of my head, but they are extra on top of the jerseys they do not come with. So if you want just the jersey, that's a separate price. You want jerseys and pants, those are a separate price as well. Thank you. Great question. Back to the slide. These are just examples. Florida Club Baseball, they have a custom logo, all this stuff. One of many options you can have when ordering jerseys. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. So obviously the official supplier, discounts, D1 teams, they get 6 dozen balls and then a choice between batting helmets or catcher's gear. Same with D2, except they get 5 dozen. And unfortunately D3, my boys, we only get 5 dozen balls at the moment, but we'll get there, I promise. But if you guys need anything, have any questions, those surveys are going out probably next week or later this week. Make sure you guys are filling those out, getting all the information in, because the faster you get those in, the faster you get your equipment to start getting practices in, tryouts, all that fun stuff. And lastly, this is not just jerseys. I mentioned it earlier with the catalog. Same with what I have on right now. Anything that's on that catalog can be a discounted. Not everything can be custom and stuff like that, like a specific logo if you have it. But there's plenty of great stuff on there. Plenty of teams order T-shirts and shorts and all that stuff just to look, practice stuff. I can help you with all that stuff. Please, if you give me a call and I can't answer, I'm busy, please leave a voicemail. If you have an email, be patient. I will get to you, I promise. But if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help with anything and everything I can possibly do. Also, lastly, this year's bat, the ALX last year, this is going to be the MAV 1 this year. I just swung it actually at a sales meeting not too long ago. Very well balanced. I'm more of a 2-piece guy, but I know the 1-piece is a big deal. But it's a beautiful bat, very well balanced, and I look forward to you guys using it and seeing it coming this season. And on to the air curator for the game and your hats.
All right, thank you, Mike. Let's bring this baby home, eh? All right, the game sponsor count. I'm speaking on behalf of Felicia Battaglia. For those of that have been around the last couple of years, you probably are very familiar with Felicia. She does a great job with the game account. They are the official headwear provider of the NCBA, so all NCBA teams are required to wear their model cap. And basically, Felicia is the middleman between you guys and the game. She makes it super easy for you guys. She handles everything from the price quotes to the invoicing to the actual ordering process. So she's super reliable, I guess is a good way to put it too. But she's been around a long time, so she'll make it very easy for you to get this process done. As I was saying, the official baseball cap of the NCBA, one of the big things that we partnered with the game for several years ago is they own probably 95% of the licenses of the schools that we have in our organization. That is huge. For you guys that have, maybe you're learning it now, but trademark licensing is huge in the college world. We can't just put a Penn State logo on a hat and sell it. You got to go through a lot of hoops. You got to own the rights to that. You got to do paperwork to get to it. You got to pay a royalty, perhaps. Every school's different, but the game owns 95% of you guys' logos. So it makes the process super easy, and it really speeds things up too. Helps you guys get your headwear in a more timely fashion. Another big thing is we're offering $2 off per cap right now. As I said earlier, the best fundraiser is a discount. It saves you money. $2 a cap will add up. It can save you a couple $100 when it's all said and done. So order your guys' caps before November 15th. Easiest way to save some money. Another great thing, or another big thing to think about, I guess, is November 15th is probably a good deadline to shoot for spring teams to get your headwear orders in. Because as Mike was saying with Rawlings, the same idea applies with New Year, Chinese New Year, any other holiday you can think of. There's going to add some hurdles into the process. So get your stuff in ASAP. Don't procrastinate. For you guys that play in the fall, I would probably start talking to Felicia right away. If anything, just start getting your design ready. You guys can go back and forth with the cap builder. You can start talking ideas and everything. She'll put it on a tee for you. Another great thing about Felicia too is since she's been around so long, she has all your orders from the past. So hey, I'm the new president for Bowling Green State Club Baseball. I'm brand new to this process. How do I get the hats I had last year? She has it on file. She'll make it really easy for you. She'll pull it up. She'll send it to you. Hey, do you want to keep this same hat? Yes. Okay, awesome. I just need your sizes, shipping address, payment information. Boom, done. So the process is super easy. Thanks to Felicia. Plan for at least 6 weeks. Same idea as Rawlings. These are custom orders, and licensing sometimes comes into play. Give yourself plenty of time to make it work. Like I said earlier, if you don't know your roster, you don't know your sizes, get the process going with your artwork. Start talking to Felicia. See what you can get done now. Another great idea is to order more than you're going to need. If you know you're going to have 30 guys and you're going to have so many sizes, order a couple extras of each size. As Jimmy noted earlier, you could sell those for fundraisers. You might lose a cap during the year for a guy. Hey, you got an extra. You might add a guy mid-year. You can't order one cap when the time comes. You might as well just order extras to have those on standby if and when needed. If not, sell them and make some money. So things to think about. Again, Felicia's contact information there. You go to thegameheadwear.com, full catalog. Got a great cap builder. You can see everything in front of your face. Again, ask those questions to Felicia. She'll help facilitate them. Got a question right before closing. What's up?
Eric, this is from Ryan from CMU, and I think this is really more geared towards the Rawlings Easton part. But his question is, with the discount, is that only for team gear, or can players get the same discount on their own items?
Any and all of the above. We promote it as a discount to the teams, but the players can absolutely take advantage of it too. And one of the nice things we always promote to individuals, we can work out bulk pricing for you guys too. Say you got 3 guys who all want a glove, or whatever the item may be. We can cut you guys some discounts to make it even more attractive, given our relationship with Rawlings, who we've been with for over 10 years. So, long story short, absolutely designed for the teams, but your individuals can absolutely take advantage of those too.
Yeah, Eric, I think another thing, what I'm seeing nowadays is less and less people have team helmets and people wear individual helmets. They don't want to swap helmets with another guy. If the team's getting 8 and there's 20 guys on the team, they can order 12 extra helmets so everybody has their own. They can decorate it with their number and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think teams individuals can take advantage of that or get a bunch of guys together and do a bulk order. Great idea.
That's a great point. One of the things we've seen a lot through the last couple of years is, especially in the postseason, like you said, helmets. Every guy has their own helmet. Catchers, every guy has their own set of gear now. With this discount that we offer you guys, 45% off is a big deal. That saves you, hundreds of dollars on orders to get that high quality Rawlings Easton stuff. It's not like it's a mom and pop shop. Rawlings is official about everything in the MLB, along with the baseball. But Easton, very well respected across baseball bats, gloves, apparel, both sides of the spectrum. Lots of stuff to offer. Like I always say, price quotes are free. So, hit up Mike. Hey, I'm interested in this, this, and this. Heck, maybe you might be interested in everything. He'll send you, links to the catalogs, and he'll break everything down for you, and you guys can go from there. All right, let's take it home. Closing. Yeah, thank you for coming, first and foremost. We know a lot of you guys are back in school. This might be a school night for you. Thanks for tuning in with us, and, hope you guys learned a little bit more about the NCBA. Maybe it sparks some great questions or, conversations for later down the line, which is great too. So thank you for coming. Promote the league and the website. Yeah, we are excited about being part of the NCBA. You guys should be excited too. You guys put a lot of work into being involved. You pay a lot of money out of your pocket, I'm sure. You drive a lot of hours out of your own cars and, promote what we are. A lot of people are still learning about us, and we're excited to share the path that we've been on throughout all this time, the last 23 years. Give the sponsors business wherever possible. Yeah, these sponsors have been with us for a while, some longer than others, some are newer, which we're also very excited about, but we push them to you guys for opportunities to take advantage of. In part, they help us operate as a league. They do great things for not only us, but for you guys. So win in where possible, get price quotes, order from them, do what you can on that front. When an issue ever arises, please notify us. Oh, got a question.
Yeah, Ro is asking one last question. Has UTEP, University of Texas El Paso, ever expressed interest in starting a club baseball team?
That's a hard one to answer off the top of my head, but I believe they have. We have talked to them in the past. I can get you a way better specific answer after talking to Jimmy and seeing his files because, like I said, early on in the presentation, he's talking to all sorts of schools. But again, if you know somebody from there, and you have contact information, heck, from any school. Maybe you just transferred from a school. Maybe your buddy goes to a school that doesn't have a club baseball team. We are always looking for ways to communicate with those new prospective teams. So whether it's at UTEP or another school that you're aware of or maybe have a contact of, more help the better. So to answer your question, I think, but definitely get the communication going with us off the record here, and we can talk about it some more. The big two things here, whenever issue arises, please notify us and let no question go unanswered. Communication, really, long story short. I guess that's the next one. Keep lines of communication open. Those are huge. We're not going to get anywhere if you're not talking to us. Same with us. We're going to be, pumping your email inboxes in the next couple of weeks with a lot of important stuff from, your schedules to equipment, how you guys make your picks on your bats, your balls, all that stuff. But a lot of stuff's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. We need your help and getting that in a timely fashion so we can keep operating the way we should for you. At the same time, we need to hear from you, especially during the season. We need to know when you're playing, what problems you might have. We can't help facilitate without knowing. You don't know what you don't know. So please be very proactive into keeping us in the loop to how we can help. We have a full-time staff. We're here for you. We have your best interest in mind too. So please let us know how, when, and where we can do for you guys. Please be prompt to meeting deadlines. Kind of just goes off that too. Whether it's submitting scores, whether it's talking about reschedules, rosters, deadlines, anything. It's going to make your life easier. It's going to make our life easier, and it's really just going to make us look better as an organization to all of you guys and all the enthusiasts and fans out there. And the last thing, really, it's a game. Have fun. We'll see you guys out in the field, man.